Dear students, let's understand the concepts of alligation, and then we will see how this concept of alligation is applied in case of mixture and alloys. So let's see. So by alligation we mean mixing two or more than two mixtures. So mixtures already are made up of more than one component. So alligation or the concept of alligation applies when you are mixing the mixtures. So let us see what do we know, we have to understand from this topic. So first concept that we have to be aware of is the concept of weighted average to determine the outcome of mixing two or more mixtures. So what is this concept? Let's suppose you have milk, three varieties of milk. So let's suppose the three varieties of milk, let's call them A, B and C. So three varieties of milk. Let's suppose the content or the percentage of milk was 90%, 80%, and for this one let's suppose this was 50%. Now what we did, we took 4 liters of A, 2 liters of B, and let's say 8 liters of C. So if you mix these three varieties, you will get a totally new different milk solution. So somebody might be interested that what was the outcome of this. If I have to say that what is the percentage strength, percentage of or percentage concentration of milk in the resultant. So this, in such circumstances, we apply the concept of weighted average. So what is that concept? The concept says that before applying the formula, first take the ratio of these quantity. See, there are two things, quantity and percentage concentration. So if you are mixing these things, quantity is already known. If you know that you are mixing 4 liters with 2 liters with 8 liters, so final quantity is already known mathematically, that 4 plus 2 6, 6 plus 8 14. So we already understand that final quantity is going to be 14 liters. What we do need to calculate is what will be the percentage concentration. So as per the concept of weighted average, the real amount does not matter, but it is their ratio that matters. So first take the ratio of these numbers. So ratio of 4, 2 and 8. Because we are not interested in finding the final volume. We have to find the final concentration. So you can simplify. So 4, 2 and 8. So 2 is to 1 is to 4. So this is step 1. The next step is you take weighted average. Now what is weighted average? So 90 into 2. So you can say final concentration can be found out using the concept of weighted average. Now what is weighted average? So 90%, you can say that 2 units having strength 90%. So the combined strength that you are getting from here, so 90 into 2, so 180%. So what is the total percentage milk that you are receiving from here? So 1 unit 80%, so 80 into 1, so 80%. Similarly from this one, 50 into 4, so 200% divided by how many units? So 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 4 7. So this is the concept. So this is what is meant by applying weighted average. Now let's take another example. Instead of mixing milk, let's say instead of mixing milk, you have three different group of students. The average age of this group is 12 years. The average age of this group is, let's say, 18 years. and the average age of this group is, let's say, 15 years. If there are 20 students in group A, 30 students in group B, and let's say 50 students in group C. So if somebody asks what will be the combined average age, so again, average percentage concentration, that is also representative of on an average. So if I say milk is 60% concentrated, so I am saying that on an average, out of 100 parts, 60 parts are made up of milk. So this is the concept of alligation. So while applying alligation, you will have two things. One is the real quantity, so real quantity, and the other is its representative strength. So here representative strength or the parameter of strength is average age. So let's apply the concept of weighted average here. We have to find the average age of entire group. So before doing that, let's take the simplified ratio. So 2 is to 3 is to 5, and their average ages was 12 years. Here it was 18 years, and here it was 15 years. So let's solve this. So average age for entire group should be equal to 12 into 2 24 plus 18 into 3 54 plus 15 into 5, that is 75, divided by 2 plus 3 5, 5 plus 5 10. So this is the concept of weighted average. So 24 plus 54, so that is 78, 78 plus 75, so that is 153 by 10, so this comes out to be 15.3. So there are other scenarios as well in which you can apply the concept of weighted average. So let's take a few more examples. So if you are a shopkeeper who sells televisions, let's suppose you are a shopkeeper who is selling televisions. So on day one you sold 12 televisions. On day 2 you sold 18 televisions. On day 3 you sold 13 television sets. On day 1 you gained 10% profit. On day 2 you suffered a loss of 20%. On day 3, let's suppose you made a profit of, let's say, 8%. So if somebody will ask what is the overall profit or loss, overall. So overall, that means again you have to combine, merge all these three, and you have to recalculate the average. So during these kind of questions, under these circumstances, you apply the concept of weighted average. So let's apply the concept of weighted average here. So before applying the formula, we have to find the simplest ratio. So let's find the simplest ratio. 12, 18 and 30 all are multiples of 6. So 2 is to 3 is to 5. Here 10% profit. So profit, that's why plus. Here 20% loss. Do not write simply 20. If you write 20, then what this loss or profit, it has to make meaning. So since it is loss, you'll have to write minus 20. Here 8% profit. So plus 8. And we have to find the average profit or loss. So now we will apply the concept of weighted average. So average profit or loss can be mathematically calculated. 10 plus 10 into 2, so that is 20%, minus 20 into 3, that is minus 60, 8 into 5, that is plus 40, divided by 2 plus 3 plus 5, that means 5 plus 5, 10. So 20 plus 40, 60, 60 minus 60. So you can see 0%. So no profit, no loss. So this is how you apply the concept of weighted average. The next concept from alligation that one should be aware of is the concept of using crisscross method. So let's see what that method is. So let's understand what is crisscross method. So let's suppose you already have two solutions with you, the solutions A and B. So A contains 20% acid solution and B contains 50% acid solution. So if you are thinking that in what ratios should I mix these two? So if you are trying to answer this question, that in what ratios should I mix these two so that the resultant, so that when I mix A and B in certain ratio of m is to n, the outcome that I will get will be a complete new, a different solution. In that solution, the acids should be 25%. So while answering these kind of questions, that in what ratios should one be mixing? So let's understand what is the concept of crisscross method. Let's take this example itself. So you have two different samples. Strength of this one is 20%, strength of this one is 50%. You want to mix them such that the final result should be equal to 25%. So the final outcome will be between these two extreme cases. Extreme. So if you take the average of 8 and let's say 18, the answer comes between 8 and 18. It is not less than 8 nor more than 18. So answer lies somewhere between 8 and 18. So as you can see, if you mix something having strength 20% with something having strength 50%, the average will come between 20 and 50%. And in this case, it is already known that the resultant should be 25%. Now you are trying to answer this question, that in what ratios should I have mixed this? What is this ratio? So while solving these kind of questions, you have to use crisscross method. Now what is crisscross method? So take the difference between 20 and 25. That means the original value and the resultant value. 20 and 25, difference is 5. Write it crossways, crossway, crisscross. So write 5 here. Similarly, take the difference between 50 and 25. So what is this difference? Difference is 25. Write it cross. So this 25 and 5 is the indicator of the ratio in which you should have mixed A and B. So what is the ratio of 25 and 5? So this is 5:1. So this is crisscross method, and then we have seen what is weighted average method. So now let's take a few examples so that things will become more clearer. So here is the first example. A 15-liter mixture contains 20% alcohol and rest water. So 15 liters of mixture you have, which contains 20% alcohol and rest is water. Fine. So this is what you have. If 3 liters of water is mixed in it, so if you take 3 liters of water, so if you take 3 liters of water means this is 20% alcohol. So in water there is no alcohol. So you would say 0% alcohol content. So if you mix these two, what will be the final percentage of alcohol in the new mixture? Final percentage. So here we have to see what is the result of the mixing. So in this case we use weighted average method. Weighted average. So before applying weighted average, convert this into the simplest possible ratio. Ratio of 15 and 3. So 5:1. So it means you took 5 units of this type and 1 unit of this type. So this was 20% concentrated. This is 0% concentrated. So what is the resultant? Take the weighted average. 20 into 5. So 100 plus 0 into 1. So 0 divided by 5 plus 1. So 100% divided by 6. So that comes out to be equal to 16.66%. Let's take the next one. The cost of type 1 material is rupees 15 per kg and type 2 material is rupees 20 per kg. If both type 1 and type 2 are mixed in the ratio 2:3, then what is the price per kg of the mixed variety of material? So you already know the ratio. You are simply concerned about the resultant. So in this case, you apply weighted average method. Ratio is already known, 2:3. Average price is already given. Type 1, 15 average price. And for this, the average price is 20. So you already know this thing. You are simply concerned about what will be the average price of the resultant. So let's apply weighted average method. Ratio, it is already given in terms of ratio. So you don't have to worry about finding the simplest ratio. Let's apply weighted average. So resultant average price will be what? 15 into 2, 30 plus 20 into 3, 60 divided by 2 plus 3. So 90 by 5 comes out to be equal to 18. Let's move to next one. Tea worth rupees 126 rupees per kg. So when you say price means average price. So tea worth rupees 126 per kg and rupees 135 per kg are mixed with a third variety of tea in the ratio 1:1:2. If the mixture is worth rupees 153 per kg, what is the price of third variety? So you already know the ratio 1:1:2. Here and here are written the prices. So price 126 we know. The price for the second variety 135 we know. We don't know the price of the third variety. So let the price of the third variety be X. But we know that if you mix them in this ratio, the resultant mixture that you are gonna get will have an average price of rupees 153. That means if you apply the weighted average here and you try to find the solution, the answer should come out to be equal to 153. So let's apply weighted average. So 126 into 1 plus 135 into 1, that is 135, plus x into 2, that is 2x, divided by 1 plus 1 plus 2. When you solve this, answer should be equal to 153. So let's see. So 126 plus 135, so that is equal to 261 plus 2x divided by 4 is equal to 153. So if you solve this, 261 plus 2x is equal to 153 into 4, so 612. So 2x is equal to 612 minus 261. So that is equal to 351. So x is equal to 351 by 2. So that should be equal to 75.50. So 175.50. This is the price of the third variety. Let's move to the next one. How many kilograms of sugar costing rupees 9 per kg must be mixed with 27 kgs of sugar costing rupees 7 per kg so that there may be gain of 10% by selling the mixture at 9.24. So you take two varieties and you mix them. So you get a completely new variety. So you are selling that variety at rupees 9.24 and you are gaining 10%. So 9.24 contains the actual cost plus 10% extra. So 100% is the actual cost, 10% is the profit. So divide 9.24 in this ratio. Ratio of 100 is to 10. So this will represent the actual cost. This will represent the profit he is earning. So in the ratio 10 is to 1. So 9.24 in the ratio 10 is to 1. So this comes out to be 10 by 11 into this much. So this is 8, 4. So 8.4. So it means the cost price, the average cost should be equal to 8.4. So you are mixing two varieties. So one variety 9 rupees, the other variety 7 rupees. So now the meaning of the question is you have two different varieties, average price. So two varieties, variety A, variety B. So average price of variety A is 9 rupees per kg. So rupees 9 per kg, and for this it is rupees 7 per kg. When you mixed this, you found out that the average price came out to be rupees 8.4, because this is what you are selling at 9.24 to gain 10%. That means the average, when you had calculated the average, it must have come out to be 8.4. Question is in what ratio? So ratio is not given, but it is given that 27 kgs of type B is used. So 27 kgs of type B is used. We have to simply find out that how many kgs of type A should be used here. So let's apply the concept of alligation, crisscross method. Let's find the ratio first. So difference of 9 and 8.4. So 0.6. Difference of 7 and 8.4. So this difference is 1.4. So if you take the ratio 14 and 6. So the ratio is 7 is to 3. 7 is to 3. So ratio of 7 by 3 should be reflected in this quantity, unknown figure by 27. So the unknown figure comes out to be 7 into 27 by 3. So 3 9s are 27, 9 7s are 63. So the unknown quantity is 63 kgs. Let's move to the next question. How many kgs of basmati rice costing rupees 42 should be mixed with another variety with 25 kg of ordinary rice costing rupees 24, so that he makes a profit of 25% on selling the mixture at rupees 40. So you are selling at rupees 40, you are having a profit of 25%. So 140 is equal to 125% of cost price. So let's first find the average cost price. So 40 is equal to 125 by 100 into cost price. So this is 5 by 4, 5 8s are, so 32. So cost price comes out to be equal to 32. Now what does this mean? It means you have mixed two varieties. One was priced at 42, the other was priced at 24, and you found out that the average comes out to be 32. So in what ratio were you mixing them? It is also known that 25 kgs of this variety has been used. So 25 kgs has been used. We have to simply find how many kgs of this variety had been mixed. So let's first find the ratio. Difference of 42 and 32. So this difference is 10. This difference 8. So this ratio of 8 by 10 should also be reflected here. Unknown figure by 25. So from here, unknown figure is equal to 8 into 25 by 10. So 25 8s are 200. 200 by 10, 20. So final answer 20 kgs. Now let's have a look at this one. A man has 30,000 rupees to lend on loan. He lent some of his capital to Mohan at an interest rate of 20% and the rest to Suresh at an interest rate of 12% per annum. At the end of 1 year, he got 17% on his capital as interest. How much did he lend to Mohan? So to one person he is lending at rate 20%, to the other he lends at the rate of 12%. So finally he noticed that on overall he has made, or you can say he has earned an interest at the rate of 17%. So that is what happened. That is the result. So in what ratio? That means some money was lent to this person, some money was lent to the other person. So now we have to find in what ratio were these money given. So that's why we have applied the crisscross method. So the difference between 20 and 17. So this is 3. Difference between 12 and 17. So this is 5. So in this ratio you have distributed the money. So what was the total money? 30,000. Question is, how much did he lend to Mohan? So Mohan, he is Mohan. Mohan at an interest of 20%. So this guy is Mohan. So he got 5 parts. Suresh got 3 parts. So how much did Mohan get? Mohan got 5 parts out of a total of 5 plus 3, 8 parts of the entire amount. Amount is 30,000. So 5 by 8 into 30,000. So this comes out to be equal to 18,750. So if you solve this, so 18750 is the final answer. So let's move to the next one. Some amount of money was lent at 10% per annum and some at 20% per annum simple interest. Thus, in 4 years, the total of interest earned from both the amount was rupees 3,400. If total sum lent was rupees 6,000, find the amount that you have lent at 20%. So now let's see the actual principal. The actual principal is equal to rupees 6,000. You have earned an interest of rupees 3,400 in 4 years. 4 years. So interest earned per year. Please remember, this 3,400 you have earned in 4 years. So interest earned per year should be equal to 3,400 divided by 4. So this comes out to be 850. 850. So see, some money was lent at 10%. Some was lent at 20%. So had you given all the money at this rate, so what would be the total interest you would have earned? 600. 10% of 6,000. 600. In case you would have given all the money at 20% rate, how much you would have earned? You would have earned 1,200. But in reality, on an average, you are earning rupees 850 as interest. So solving this using crisscross method will give you the indication of the ratio in which these two amounts were invested. So let's see, 600 and 850. The difference is 250. 1200 and 850. The difference is 350. So both are multiples of 50. So if you take the ratio, this comes out to be 7:5. That means this amount of 6,000 was distributed in this ratio. Question is, find the amount lent at 20%. So this, basically this. So 5 parts out of 12 parts of the entire money is 6,000. So 5 by 12 into 6,000. So 12 fives are, so 500. So this comes out to be 2,500. Now let's have a look at this one. A man has 60 pence. He sells some of these at a profit of 12%. So profit plus 12 and the rest at a loss of 8%. So please remember adding minus sign to it. So as a result, he noticed that on the whole, he gets a profit of 11%. So plus 11 is the resultant. Question is, how many pence were sold at 12% profit? So before finding the actual value, let's find the ratio. So let's apply the crisscross method. Difference between 12 and 11. What is the difference? Difference of 1. So write 1 here. What is the difference between 11 and minus 8? So 11 minus 8, this is the difference. So 19. So this is the ratio in which you have to distribute 60 pence. So how many pence were sold at 12% profit? So 19 out of 20 parts of 60 pence. 60 pence. So this is equal to 19 into 3. 57 pence in total were sold. Now let's have a look at this question. A class contains girls and boys in the ratio 5:2. So girls and boys, the ratio is already given 5:2. What else do we know? In a recently conducted math test, the girls scored an average of 84%. So girls scored 84%. The class as a whole scored an average of 78. So class on an average has scored 78%. What was the average of the girls? I think this should be boys. What was the average of the boys? Because average of girls already known. So what is this number? Fine. So let's see. We already know the ratio. So 84 and 78. 84 and 78. So what is the difference? Difference is 6. So instead of 6, you have written 3. So it means 84 minus 78 is written as 2 and x and 78. So x 78 must be greater than x. Why? Because this is lies in between. So if it is less than 84, it means this is greater than x. So you can say 78 minus x should be in this very ratio. So let's solve this. You will find the value of x. So 84 minus 78. So 6 by 78 minus x is equal to 2 by 5. So this gets cancelled. So you can say 15 is equal to this much. So x comes out to be 78 minus 15, 63%. This is one way to solve it. But the easiest way to solve it should have been by using weighted average. Because the ratio was already known. Ratio of boy and girl was already known, 5:2. Girls 84%, boys we didn't knew how much percent, but we knew the result. The result was 78%. So if you take weighted average, 84 into 5 plus x into 2, that is 2x divided by 5 plus 2, that is 7, should be equal to 78. So let's solve this. So 84 into 5, so 420 plus 2x is equal to 7 into 78. So 546. So from here 2x is equal to 126. X is equal to 63. Same answer, but this time you can save a few critical seconds.